Most people think you have to travel halfway across the country to find haunted roads, cursed bridges, or forests with stories that refuse to die. But sometimes the creepiest legends are sitting right in your own backyard. Tonight we're staying close to home. Right here in northeastern Pennsylvania, we're talking phantom hitchhikers, shadow people walking one of the largest concrete railroad bridges ever built, and something hidden inside our Appalachian forest that may know your name before you ever stepped onto the trail. So grab your flashlight, don't answer the whistles, and welcome back to Nightly Haven. Now, anyone who's lived around Dalton, Factoryville, or Clark Summit long enough has probably heard some version of the story. You're driving home, it's late, rain is falling just hard enough that your headlights seem swallowed by the darkness. Then you see someone standing along Route 6. Usually they're described as young, cold, sometimes wearing outdated clothing, sometimes soaking wet despite there being no rain. Almost everyone tells the story differently, but the ending is strangely consistent. The driver stops, the hitchhiker quietly gets inside. No conversation, just silence. A few miles later, when the driver turns to speak, the passenger is gone. No open door, no footsteps, nothing. Just an empty seat. Is this simply another version of the famous vanishing hitchhiker legend found across America? Maybe. Or maybe every town creates its own ghost story because every dangerous road eventually earns its own tragedy. Some locals claim fatal crashes along Route 6 gave birth to the story. Others believe it is simply folklore passed from generation to generation. But either way, people still report slowing down when they see someone standing alone after midnight, just in case. Towering over Nicholson stands one of Pennsylvania's greatest engineering achievements, the Tunkhannock Viaduct. Completed in 1915, this enormous concrete railroad bridge stretches more than half a mile and rises hundreds of feet above the valley. It remains one of the largest reinforced concrete railroad bridges in the world. Building something this massive wasn't easy. Construction was dangerous. Workers faced dizzying heights, primitive equipment, and harsh conditions. Over the years, local stories began to spread. Some claimed workers accidentally fell into wet concrete during the construction, their bodies forever sealed inside the bridge. It's an unsettling image, but here's where history and legend split apart. There's no verified historical evidence that workers were entombed in the concrete of the viaduct. While deaths occurred during large industrial construction projects over the era, the buried in the bridge story appeared to be local folklore rather than documented fact. That hasn't stopped the sightings, though. Visitors have described dark figures pacing along the top of the bridge long after trains have passed. Others report seeing silhouettes standing perfectly still, only to disappear when looked at directly. Could they simply be shadows cast by the bridge's massive arches? Optical illusions? Or is this the legend keeping itself alive? Now, this is where Appalachian folklore, or if you're from the South, Appalachian folklore, starts getting uncomfortable. Deep forests have always carried rules. Don't wander after dark. Don't follow strange lights. And above all, don't answer something that calls your name from the woods. Throughout Appalachia history, stories have circulated for generations about mysterious whistles echoing between the trees. Not bird calls, not coyotes, something that sounds almost human. Some hikers near the forests surrounding Lackawanna State Park have shared unsettling stories of hearing whistles that seemed to move around them, or voices that sounded oddly familiar in places where no one else should have been. And I feel like I experienced this at Keystone College. Many of these accounts have natural explanations. Sound behaves strangely in dense forests, and birds, wind, and echoes can all create eerie effects. Still, the old mountain advice remains surprisingly consistent. If the woods whistle, you keep walking. If something calls your name, you don't answer. Whether that wisdom comes from generations of practical survival or from something people couldn't explain depends on who you ask. Maybe every town has its ghost story. Maybe there's simply warnings wrapped in folklore, a hitchhiker reminding us to slow down, a bridge reminding us of the cost of human ambition, a forest reminding us that nature doesn't always care if we're comfortable. Or maybe, just maybe, some stories survive because something happened that no one could ever fully explain. If you've experienced anything strange around Route 6, the Tunkhannock Viaduct, or the forest surrounding Lackawanna State Park, or Appalachia in general, or from the South Appalachia, tell us in the comments. Your story might be featured in a future Nightly Haven episode. You never know. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the oldest legends are hiding just down the road. Good night, and I'll see you in the next one.